Hello, Pat. My name is Blake Beamer, and I'm here to help you improve macro enterprises. In this presentation, you will hear about many different aspects of macro enterprises. The goal is to help improve the performance of macro enterprises. In order to do this, we need to make sure human resources become a part of strategic partners. Human resources needs to be a strategic partner because it will help both the culture of macro enterprises as well as the leadership inside macro enterprises. First, macro enterprises needs to address problems in its culture. The best thing to do is understand what these problems are before trying to fix them. After collecting data, there is an evident lack of pride in the workplace. This is easily overlooked by management, but it is very important to how the employees perceive the company. At this moment, company perception is unfavorable. Macro enterprises should want employees to be proud to work there. One is able to tell the lack of pride in a number of different ways. The first sign is through the dress of the employees. To have some members of the organization casually dressed and others professionally dressed is going to create problems. Next, for the kitchen area of the multi-purpose room, to have notes tacked up asking people to pick up after themselves, clean dishes, throw trash in the correct bins, that's unacceptable. Also, pride is shown in menial tasks such as picking up after yourself in the bathroom. With paper towels being on the floor, it is shown that there is a lack of pride. The last way lack of pride is shown comes from the leadership, allowing the multi-purpose room to have subpar furniture in it. Old and worn is not something that macro enterprises should strive for. Another issue in the culture is respect. I will combine this with the difficulties integrating Rockford and Florida employees because they stem from the same place. Anytime you have a new group of people coming together and interacting, there are bound to be troubles. Bringing together employees from Rockford, Illinois and Florida is no different. Florida employees feel they are second-rate employees, while Rockford employees feel threatened with the new employees. Both sets call the others by a slang term. Employees from Florida plant call those who are originally from the Illinois plant ORs for Old Rockfords, while those originally from the Rockford plant call Florida employees Fs. This is a major issue for macro enterprises. Another way respect is shown to be an issue is from an interview with a manager who said, "No one trusts each other anymore." In order to have respect, there must be a certain level of trust with the employees. There also needs to be trust with the employees and their managers. Having diversity is not a culture problem, but it could turn into a legal one if macro enterprise is not careful. Having a bathroom for men but not women is a problem. It either means there aren't enough women working, or it's a discrimination issue. Diversity seems to be an issue on breaks too. Having two tables of men segregated by choice is not something a company should be proud of. Employees should feel comfortable sitting with coworkers of all backgrounds. An interview with the second shift worker said that whenever an employee from a Florida plant gets put on the first shift, they request to be shifted back to the first shift because of racist attitudes of the original Rockfords. Racist attitudes do not help the diversity issue. The last problem in culture is through the orientation process. There seems to be confusion about how employees should be trained, how interactions should be between men and machine, and how to file concerns throughout the company. And next, we have solutions to these problems. The bullet points may be obvious. What's not obvious is how to fulfill these points. First, building pride is not easy, but it is essential. We want employees to have great perceptions about macro enterprises. One way of doing this is creating a new vision, mission, and core values. This should be done through the collaboration of employees and management. There should be a logo that intertwines the culture of Florida with Rockford's. The mission statement should be on a board in the multi-purpose room. Hello, Pat. My name is Blake Beamer, and I'm here to help you improve macro enterprises. In this presentation, you will hear about many different aspects of macro enterprises. The goal is to help improve the performance of macro enterprises. In order to do this, we need to make sure human resources become a part of strategic partners. Human resources needs to be a strategic partner because it will help both the culture of macro enterprises as well as the leadership inside macro enterprises. Use their dress. This creates problems because it creates a feeling of resentment from those dressed professionally as opposed to those casually dressed. Another aspect of pride is menial tasks talked about earlier. Everyone should do their part. There should be no need for signs in the kitchen asking for people to pick up after themselves. Every week we're going to assign 2 people to clean up both the kitchen and the bathroom. People will change every week and they'll work in pairs. They will be required to clean their respective places daily. The goal will be to have their other employees start to pull their weight and make it cleaner for their coworkers once it's their time to clean. Finally, macro enterprises should invest in their employees to build pride. The multi-purpose room should be seen as a place that employees want to go. The furniture being old and worn is unacceptable. Macro Enterprises needs to buy new furniture and be sure to put the company logo or value up on walls to liven the room up. Building unity will come with help from having company uniforms. Other ways to build unity are through the company logo design. Incorporating both the Florida culture with Illinois will help. The fact that trophies are there from the plant sport teams is alright, but it shouldn't be seen as the main point of pride for this new company we have. There should be company teams that are created with both Florida teammates and Illinois teammates merged. There should be teams in both city leagues as well as leagues we create within our own company. Every member of our company should be required to participate on one team. Teams will be of all backgrounds, no more slang terms for employees either. The only slang term that we should allow is MEs. This is for macro enterprises. We are one team. No more segregation of old, new, southern, northern, black, white. There will be a team building camp that is mandatory for employees to attend. There will be a ropes course, communication tasks, and obstacles that are paid event for macro enterprises. This is another way to help build unity because thus far, steps have not been taken to integrate employee groups. Finally, to help with problems in our culture, there will be a uniformed orientation process. We at Macro Enterprises should preach unity. We do the same things, the same time, the same way. Notice I say we. This is because even though I am hired from an outside firm, the sense of pride and passion Macro Enterprises needs to exert should go to those who are only helping the firm from the outside. I have a sense of pride in this, so employees should too. There needs to be an orientation process that happens for all employees. Things that would go over are what to do if a machine breaks, where and when to tell the foreman, what to write on clipboards provided, where and how to provide comments about the organization. There should be trainers that are hired to train employees. Macro enterprises would benefit from this because the tutoring will be more thorough. The orientation process should outline how new hires are introduced to procedures, who selects the mentors, and how it happens. Building an orientation process will help promote unity and increase employee satisfaction because it will be a common factor that all employees go through, giving them something they can all relate to and build memories off of. Well, you may be asking yourself, how will human resources being a strategic partner solve these problems? It helps a number of ways. First, if human resources were a strategic partner working with the CEO, complaints and ideas would be able to be run by CEO immediately. If there was a problem in some aspect of the company, HR would know about it and be able to stop it or solve it before it escalates. Problems that escalate create chaos. Chaos hinders productivity. Next, in order to help you, Pat, make sure you know that human resources is much more important than anybody would ever give you credit for. Human resources being a strategic partner would be able to bring the company together. You must lead by example. How would macro enterprises expect to tell their employees that unity and team building are important, yet not have unity at the highest level? It is important to lead by example. Having unity at the highest level will help employees to buy into the mission and vision that macro enterprises is trying to accomplish. If it is understood that HR is a strategic partner with the CEO, then employees have a common ground on how to learn what the CEO is looking for. Finally, human resources being a strategic partner will increase the culture because macro enterprises must remember, you win with people. This means that without the use of their employees, no matter how small the job is, the company would fail. Investing in their employees will allow macro enterprises to prosper. A counter-argument to this is that machines are really doing the work, and you shouldn't have to invest in employees to be successful. To disprove this argument, though, all one must say is, look at the production since our merger. It's not where macro enterprise is expected to be. The machines are no different from Florida to Illinois, but things are not running as smoothly. This is because people are the difference maker. Human resources is all about people. Investing in human resources to be a strategic partner is an investment in people, which turns out to be an investment for success at macro enterprises. Changes start at the top. For macro enterprises, this means that leadership needs to be adjusted. During our interviews, there are a few statements that kept coming up as problems. These are a lack of consensus on the vision, lack of trust between Florida reps and Rockfords, lack of communication, and a lack of diversity and understanding diversity. These statements led me to ask, who are the leaders of this organization? From our data collection, we could tell those in executive positions based on dress. This is unacceptable. I should be able to point out the leaders simply based on their interaction with employees. I would hope employees have the respect for leaders, and leaders take the time out of the day to help employees with different tasks. I also don't want leaders in nicer attire than our employees. Perhaps a different colored shirt, but no job is too small for our leaders at Macro Enterprises. Macro Enterprises' CEO should be the face of the organization. It was said in interviews that he would rather sell products at a trade show than deal with issues inside the company. This is going to hinder performance. The fact that the CEO is so ready to work outside the company is part of the reasoning why he doesn't know what to do to bring the executive team together. How leaders at Macro Enterprises view our floor employees is very important. In the interviews, it was said that there are accusations of racism on the factory floor as well as in management offices. If we are living in a segregated age, this might be tolerated. But here, in today's world, it's unacceptable. It was said that non-management office workers feel they don't get important information. There shouldn't be a wall between our management and non-management positions. This will only bring down the company. Another main issue with the leadership is the question of how does one become a leader? There's confusion on our staff to what performance standards need to be met or promoted to stay in a leadership position. If employees do not have goals they are shooting to be seen as successful, then their drive and motivation to work will decrease. This is just a natural human law. Understanding the purpose of doing something increases the likelihood of the outcome it will happen. Employees should not see their peers in leadership positions as being from Florida, Illinois. They should simply see them as leaders and respect them for that. Finally, the last problem from the leadership standpoint of Macro Enterprises is the lack of sharing and teamwork. This is part of the culture, but is a direct result of our leadership. Being open to new ideas, sharing ideas, and wanting to improve is an attitude. Attitude reflects leadership. Our leaders need to embrace the fact that everyone thinks differently, and in brainstorming, there's no such thing as a bad idea. In our data collection, to go through the executive offices and have some doors open and some closed, it's not ideal. We want all doors to be open, unless there's a need to have doors closed, such as the CEO talking with the human resource director about employment strategies. It was said that the executive team does not share the same understanding of the future and of the goals. Being in a corporation with little communication will do that. This will hopefully change once our leaders become more accessible and improve their communication skills. Now the question is, how do we solve our leadership issues? I can answer that for you, Pat. It may seem silly, but we have to communicate. Communication is key. People communicate all the time through writing, talking, and sending emails, but are they effectively communicating? That's two-way communication where you're not only talking, but you're listening, giving feedback and understanding that the message was understood. The CEO should have meetings with each and every employee at least monthly, if not bi-weekly. It is his job to be seen and known by his employees, not the other way around. Establishing individual as well as company meetings will help him to get to know where things are going and if things are going well or if they need improvement. This also gives lower level non-management positions a voice in the company. This improves employee morale, which in turn increases production. There will be a communicated goal, mission, and vision that starts with our CEO. It's his job to communicate the vision to other employees. Once he does this, there will be an increase in unity as well as a better culture for work. Once everyone knows the common goal, it's easier to put differences aside. The second communicate represents communication of other leaders to our employees. There will never be slang terms from leaders, and if a leader hears our slang terms used, he needs to report it to our human resource director. This will be counted as a complaint against that employee, and in baseball rules, 3 strikes and that employee is out of Macro Enterprises. Racism and discrimination will not be tolerated. It can't be tolerated from any employee, but especially not from our leaders. If our leaders don't lead by example, we lose credibility quickly. Leaders without credibility lead to chaos. At Macro Enterprises, to ensure that success is reached, leaders are held to a higher standard. If a leader is found to be using inappropriate language, they will be let go of their position. It won't be tolerated at Macro Enterprises. Our third communication involves our succession plan. There should be a known hierarchy. It should only be evident because the CEO says, not because any employee is really better than the other. If a floor-level employee has an issue, they should report to a supervisor. The supervisor in turn reports to an executive leader, and the executive leader can bring it up to the CEO. But during the meetings with the CEO, a floor-level employee should bring up any issues that he or she feels need to be made aware. The succession plan will help employees set personal goals that they can reach to attain promotions. This communication will also help represent ideas. Sharing should be embraced at macro enterprises. Executive level leaders should have an open door policy. This means the doors are open. It should be commonplace to hear executives talking ideas, improvements, and changes that would help our company. Macro enterprise is not a cemetery, therefore it does not need to be quiet. Employees with ideas should feel comfortable coming to talk to executives with confidence. If these communications can be made on a routine basis, attitudes will change. If attitudes will change, culture will change. If culture will change, macro enterprises will become an extremely successful company. But now you're probably wondering how our human resources helps leadership. Well, I can tell you that, Pat. Having human resources as part of our strategic partner, that means there's someone there to hold the CEO accountable. Human Resources Department can be in charge of setting up meetings with the CEO and employees. They sit in on the meetings, and they'll listen with the CEO about complaints or ideas the employees have. This will make sure that changes are made if the CEO hears something, and he can't just brush it aside or forget about it. This aids in building our relationships with the CEO. You can also see that people would say, wow. You can see that people will say that HR does not need to be at the strategic partner table because it just eats up resources. Well, not having HR at this position will decrease the amount of production that is seen. It's definitely worth the investment. Opponents to human resources as a strategic partner will say that it just makes everyone's job harder. Well, it's only harder because it's the right thing to do. Being a person of integrity isn't supposed to be easy. Coming in early and staying late is not supposed to be easy. Meeting with employees of all levels and listening to them is not supposed to be easy. If it were easy, everybody would do it. We want to go the extra mile, and that will lead us to success. Human resources being part of the strategic partner will help keep our leaders on task. If they know that human resources report directly to the CEO, hopefully there will be less discrimination and an increased acceptance of others. Having human resources as a strategic partner will change the way our leaders lead. They will be more willing to go that extra mile, and that's what macro enterprises needs. A manager was recorded as saying that pressures are high and direction is off. Well, having human resources as a strategic partner will give people and employees a voice at the important table, hopefully decreasing pressure and increasing movement in one direction. Finally, and most importantly, human resources as a strategic partner fosters the vision that macro enterprises is trying to set. Human resources reporting directly to the CEO will allow him to know if there are redundancies or layoffs that occurred unnecessarily thanks to the merger. It allows executive team members to have a place to go if they feel mistakes are being made. While we strive for perfection, macro enterprises knows that people are human. Mistakes can and will be made. They just need to be taken care of to the best of all ability. This means reporting into the Human Resources Department so we can tell the CEO. Human resources will be involved in transactions dealing with people. They are vital to the company's success, so it's only natural they report to the highest level. Just remember, not having human resources at the strategic partner may be cheaper and easier, but it leads to a divided company that doesn't know where we're going. With it as part of the strategic partners, pride will be built, strategic partners will build unity, and it helps increase diversity and limits the discrimination. Employees will have a set orientation with human resources as a strategic partner. Communication, which we've heard is key to any organization, will be improved with human resources as a strategic partner. And the CEO will be held accountable and improve as a leader with human resources by his side. Most importantly, it helps employees learn, live, and lead the vision that Macro Enterprises wants for its company with human resources as a strategic partner. Thank you, Pat, for your time, and I hope you have a great day.